Bets on a Monday. Welcome into PHNX Bets Daily Podcast, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook. Be sure to like and subscribe, but leave us a 5-star wherever you get your podcast. Johnny Venerable, Shawn DePaz. Shayna was off today, and Shawn, it was sad. Radio Row last week, that wasn't sad, but I missed the annual Super Bowl bet show.
I know.
And you and Leah held down the fort, and I
Me,
appreciate
Leah,
it.
and Damon all did.
And Damon.
And I honestly I did pretty well. I think Damon did pretty well.
I did all right. Yeah, I hit like half, I think.
Okay, I know Leah hit at the very least on her heads. She also put money on an octopus, and we got one last night.
I saw that on
plus
Twitter.
1,400, I believe, something crazy like that. So the three of us in totality, I think, can equal you and Shane, and we did pretty good.
You guys did great. Let's check out your bets from Friday, shall we? Maybe not, but Brandon,
we did the show on Ecamm.
Give me 1 second. I can try to find them.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk through them because I have.
Before we do that, let me talk about mine just in case we've got yours.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I made my bets probably like an hour before the game. I didn't look at the lines for the most part leading up to Super Bowl 57 because I knew I was going to bet last minute because I didn't have a great feeling about the game one way or the other. My dad's in town, and we bet the same bets yesterday while watching the game. And this was an hour or two after the report that John Gannon was going to be interviewing for the Cardinals job. And I'm like, well, we got to roll with the Eagles now. I have to have a vested interest in rooting for John Gannon. And I wanted to pick the Eagles money line, and my dad would not allow me to do that. So to his better judgment, we took the over, which we both loved, in a parlay with the Chiefs money line, which did hit. We got plus money on that. The Chiefs money line was plus 100 before the game. So I think $20 paid out almost 80. That was the lone bet I won. I got a DraftKings free $5 bet, which was fantastic. Of course, you want to hedge that on something with big odds. So we were looking at first touchdown scores. I went Devontae Smith. He was getting a lot of targets that first drive until you got into the red zone, so that didn't hit. And then I told you off air, Shawn, I had a juicy parlay with 2 tight ends scoring tutties in Kelsey and Goddard. I got my Kelsey touchdown early out of the way. Goddard, no red zone target. So 1 for 3, but still in the green. It was a profitable day on DraftKings.
Yeah, it was ultimately a profitable day for me. I swung and missed on a lot of my big ones, primarily anything related to Boston Scott and Miles Sanders. For different reasons. Miles Sanders just kind of disappeared. Was he hurt in the first half? Did he get hurt and disappear for a little bit? I don't remember. Boston Scott, on the other hand, was fully healthy, it appeared, and just screwed me. And he didn't really screw me. I'm going to blame the Eagles coaching staff for their play calling. But I had Boston Scott anytime touchdown scorer. I also took a flyer on Boston Scott MVP, Boston Scott first touchdown, Boston Scott touchdown in the Eagles' third drive. None of it hit. He got down there. He had 2 attempts within the 10-yard line on the first drive. Ultimately didn't get anywhere. Handed it off to Kenneth Gainwell. He scored and then didn't score. And then, of course, Jalen Hurts just started being Jalen Hurts and just kept getting his ass pushed into the end zone. So I didn't get anything on Boston Scott. Travis Kelce over 6.5 receptions. I can't believe I got it there because it ultimately went up. And by the time I actually put my money on it, it went up. I believe 6.5 hit, but I missed at 7.5. Correct?
He got 6.
Yeah.
He got 6.
Yeah.
So screw me. I lost no matter what. Kelsey's yards hit, though, and I did put money on that outside of this. Then Miles Sanders over 61.5 rush yards. I do not believe hit either because he disappeared for the majority of the game. So my props that I actually picked on bets sucked, but the ones that I put money on hit. Then we can go to my pick for the actual game. Eagles money line. It was right there. It just melted through my fingers. I don't think I'm a fool for taking it.
No,
I think it was very
wanted
possible.
to take the Eagles.
We can talk about this, but I think Jalen Hurts played an exceptional game and is also the only reason the Eagles lost. I don't think that's unfair to say, considering he had an unforced turnover. But outside of that, in this game seemed free. It's 2 super high-powered offenses. I don't know. I understand why someone could talk themselves into picking the under, but I'm pretty sure Damon picked the under. I think you're a fool for picking the under when Patrick Mahomes and the Eagles offense are on the field.
88% of the bets went on to the over.
And it still got blown out. Bless you.
Allergy season. Yes, 88% of the bets went on the over. So 12% of people thought the under was going to hit. It did not. I saw that over under, and I thought it was a joke. I thought it would be 58, 59. Philadelphia is a fantastic team at point of attack, line of scrimmage, especially on offense. So you knew they were going to move the ball against Kansas City defense, which has got a couple of rookies starting. So I'm with you. That was Jalen Hurts' best game as a pro. Given the magnitude of the situation, those throws that he was making late, especially that one to Dallas Goedert on 3rd and 14. I don't think he was the reason they lost. I think he made a bad play in the first half that inevitably cost them. But the defense didn't play well in the second half.
No, they did not.
And then they let a punt return go to the 5, which was just basically a walk-in touchdown for Kansas City. So if you want to beat Mahomes right now, you have to play a perfect game. And that's what Tom Brady and Tampa Bay did 2 years ago. Their pass rush made Mahomes uncomfortable. Now, granted, that was a different Chiefs offensive line. And Brady played a damn near perfect game. So it's like slaying the dragon, right? You only get so many opportunities. If they don't have the fumble return for a touchdown, they probably win. If the punt return doesn't happen and they go 3 and out, they probably win.
Yeah.
You got to put it together for 4 quarters. I do think that they got out coached in the second half. I thought Philadelphia really took it to them. I mean, it's 24-14. It could have easily been 24-7 in the first half. So Sirianni, John Gannon, Shane Steichen, they got out coached by 2 Super Bowl winning coordinators and a Super Bowl winning head coach. And that happens. And Mahomes is on track right now to become one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. It's a tremendous game. But the fact that Kansas City was an underdog in this game, I thought was surprising. And then the over-under was surprising as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in on the Chiefs all week until about halfway up until the week leading up to the Super Bowl. So about a week and a half leading up to the Super Bowl, I was all Chiefs. I had a change of heart that I've discussed before, but it was just an odd game to me in the sense that I don't really you can obviously point to specific mistakes, but I don't think you can really deny that these were the 2 best teams in football.
Easily.
This was what was supposed to happen, and the game turned out that way. It was.
Do the Bengals beat the Eagles? Do the Bengals beat the Eagles?
They can for sure.
I think they do.
I think they probably because I think you have to respect their a legitimate rushing attack a little more,
and their defense is better.
So
Cincinnati's defense is better.
Probably, but I think you get a very similar game. I don't think the Eagles I don't think the Eagles game plan changes at all. And I don't think what the Eagles did well. I don't think they would really struggle to do well against the Bengals defense. That being said, I do think ultimately they probably Joe. I think you switch it. Joe Burrow's still the better quarterback in that game. So, and I ultimately I think that was more or less the difference is Patrick Mahomes being the best quarterback in football,
and the experience of the Chiefs and Cincinnati second year in a row. 100%. Whereas Philadelphia in the second half looked like a team with no experience because they didn't have experience. I hope you got experience dabbling on the DraftKings Sportsbook app over the course of these last 2 weeks. It was the best time to bet. But guess what? The good times, they keep going. All-Star break coming up in the NBA. Kevin Durant on the horizon. If you want to wager on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, all you got to do, download the app now. Use promo code PHNX. New customers can bet a mere $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I mentioned the fact that I walked into DraftKings last night, the virtual store that it is, the plethora of bets coming my way. And they told me, hey, Johnny, before you do anything else, here's a free 5 spot. Click this button and opt in. And so that just kind of set the tone for I'm playing with what we call house money. So I hope
free $5. Boston Scott, next touchdown score. Let's ride. It did not hit, but it is what I did. It is what I used the $5 on.
But we are having fun. And we love to dabble on DraftKings only with promo code PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Speaking of DraftKings, guess what? The good times keep moving. The plethora of off-season bets is going to be great. We're going to dive into that over the course of the coming weeks, months. But I thought it was appropriate, Shawn. Probably seen this on the Twitter streets this morning. Super Bowl 2023-2024 odds are available. We're not going to talk about the fact that the Cardinals are 2,500 to 1 or 25,000 to 1 or whatever it is. But let's talk about some of the teams that we like, plus money, reaching and winning the big game. I'll go with you first.
Yeah. So obviously it's a little contradictory. So let me explain myself. First, Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. If the Bills are playing as good as the Bills can, I think they also beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, for the record. Obviously, it did not end great at the end of the year. I have to imagine this team is going to get Josh Allen some help, whether that's a guy like Saquon Barkley, for example, or just any kind of second pass catcher, because I think they rested on their laurels a little bit too much. Dawson Knox was not the Dawson Knox from last year. Gabe Davis was not the guy that people thought he was going to be, having Cole Beasley out of the way. It really kind of just was Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. And when Josh Allen was hurt, that kind of all went downhill. Josh Allen will be healthy, presumably. I have to imagine Brandon Beane will get this offense some help. Plus 700. There is a reason they were Super Bowl favorites this year. I just feel like they're going to take another step closer. So in general, they are my Super Bowl favorite at plus 700. But moving on, I think worth a flyer is the Los Angeles Chargers to at least win the AFC at plus 1,100. I think you look at the last few years, a lot of people like to blame Lombardi and Staley, but Staley's still there. But they like to blame Lombardi for some of their offensive woes. He's gone. Kellen Moore, a guy that likes to throw the ball downfield a lot more. I think you'll see a more unlocked version of Jay Herbo. I think at plus 1,100, it's worth the flyer. Obviously, in a really tough division that you could say got better by getting rid of Derek Carr and getting Sean Payton. But I think it's worth a flyer. I think this team is just super talented, and if they have a better play caller, I think they have a chance. And then I can't go anywhere other than the Niners for NFC champs. I just if their quarterback is healthy, they would have been the Super Bowl this year if they had literally any of their three quarterbacks stay healthy for the entirety of that game. I think they win. So I think they're going to not walk, but I would be surprised, barring injury, which is obviously a problem for this team, giving their quarterbacks and who they have at running back, who was important and managed to stay healthy once he got to San Francisco. McCaffrey has not stayed healthy for most of his career. If he does, the whole team stays healthy. I think the Niners relatively easily get to the Super Bowl.
I don't love it. Not surprised, Mr. Homer of the Buffalo Bills, but
what do you want me to say? They're a good team.
I don't agree with your assessment that Buffalo would have been able to stop Philadelphia's run game when they got undressed by Joe Mixon and company.
I think you. Yeah, no. That's the second half of the season. The second half of the season, Bills, no. I think if the Bills are completely healthy, and they were for the first half of the season, if Von Miller is still there, if their entire defense is healthy, I don't think people give enough credit to Tremaine Edmunds and Matt Milano that was a linebacker core. I think it's one of, if not the best, just pure linebacker core in football. But all I'm saying is, if this team is healthy, we saw who they were in the first half of the season. They were they were by far, in my opinion, the best team in football for the first half of the season. If they can do that in the second half of the season, they're going to be hard to stop.
I agree with that. I saw Von Miller, by the way, at Radio Row. He looked like he was moving just fine.
I was about to ask. Good.
Good to go for 2023. We're good to go here. Here are my picks. I got two of them. I like both of these. So if you want to dab a little coin on Super Bowl champions,
I love the second one.
Cincinnati's an easy one because, again, they're the only team right now I see, with all due respect to Shawn's Bills, that has an opportunity to go into Kansas City and win, or the just Bills outright.
The Bills did it during the regular season. All I'm saying, they did beat the Chiefs.
Regular season, postseason. Cincinnati was this close to taking it down. And I know Buffalo was great in the postseason last year, but Bengals plus 900 to win the Super Bowl. I like that. I think they're going to be aggressive in free agency. I think they know that time is coming to an end with the rookie deals of both Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and they need to go all in, maybe add a couple offensive linemen, maybe add another pass rusher. Depends if they lose their coordinator, though, to the Arizona Cardinals. And then here's one. I'm going to double down. It's not on here. I like them to win the NFC and the Super Bowl, the Detroit Lions. Go look at the NFC right now. And yes, Shawn is gushing about San Francisco, and they do have the best roster. But you can't trust their quarterback situation. You can't. You just can't.
Can you?
Purdy, no.
You say that, but they also got three quarterbacks deep and made the NFC Championship. They had a freak array of quarterback injuries. They had four quarterbacks get hurt.
It's not sustainable. Plus, I've heard other people make this argument, so I'm going to take credit as it my own. But they have a team that's that's built on some injury-prone players that I do not think will hold. Like, they were very fortunate with their injuries this year.
Yeah,
Debo
they were
healthy,
very fortunate. Like I said, Christian McCaffrey staying healthy.
McCaffrey healthy,
Yeah.
Bosa healthy. These are physical players that are known to get hurt. So all those guys, they're blue chippers, right? They're future Hall of Famers in a lot of ways. Trent Williams and company, they helped carry Brock Purdy. Next year, Brock Purdy may be asked, or Trey Lance, to carry that team. I'll believe it when I see it. Detroit, to me, I think has an opportunity. Goff's already been to a Super Bowl. They went 8-1 down the stretch. They started 1-6. Jamison Williams for an entire year. They're a team, if you look at the roster, very few holes. Again, it's ridiculous to say a team that's never been to a Super Bowl, that hasn't won a playoff game since the early 90s. But if you just look at plus money, plus whatever that was, 3,000, put $5 on it, put a free bet from DraftKings, and thank me later. We thank all of you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, all I was going to say is I think, to me, they are my favorite to win the NFC North, especially if Aaron Rodgers is not a Green Bay Packer.
No doubt.
I think they're clearly the best team in that division. If again,
they're losing
Aaron
no
Rodgers
coordinators. Everybody's coming back. Their offensive line, they're built a lot of ways like Cincinnati and Philadelphia when they've made these runs, assuming Goff can stay upright. Their offensive line is so good. And Aiden Hutchinson was walking around Radio Row. He looked like Lurch from the Addams Family. No body fat on that man. He's taller than J.J. Watt. I mean, he's going to quickly enter the Defensive Player of the Year race, I think, in the NFL. My
biggest problem with them to win the Super Bowl is that they are likely going to host the Giants, if they were like this year, that the Giants, or presumably, hopefully, a slightly, I don't know about better, but not any worse Cowboys team. Like I feel like they're going to have to host a tough team in Detroit. So
you can pick out the heavy hitters in the AFC pretty easily. Chiefs, Bengals, Buffalo Bills, right? Depending on what happens with Baltimore. The NFC, I think we're going to see a drastic shift. There's going to be a lot of turnover from the playoff teams this year to last year, and that's where you can really make some money on DraftKings. Again, promo code PHNX. You get your $200 in bonus bucks. Shawn and I, it was great hanging out here on a post Super Bowl 57 Monday. I hope all of your bets flourished. As our guy in the chat said, Brandy made $200 yesterday. We love to see that. We love to see all of you liking and subscribing to wherever you get your podcast. I'm told Shane will be back tomorrow. I have a bone to pick with Shane. He's throwing shade at potentially the future head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon. And speaking of that, Shawn, PHNX Cardinals live today. Myself, Bull Brock, 4 p.m. Will we have news by then? It's almost Valentine's Day. Please tell me ASU's got something fun on the docket.
We do. 2 p.m. We're talking. We're going back to the circle of suck, which is to say there are 4 teams fighting for 2 spots in the top 4 of the Pac-12 in men's basketball. So we're going to talk about that. Maybe a little softball, because ASU softball is back, and they are, I don't know if you knew this, Johnny, a wagon. They're unbelievable. Super excited that bat and ball sports are back. So we're going to have a fun show, 2 p.m. right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube page.
Baseball season, softball season, they are elite. Weather's turning here in the Valley. We want to see all of you out at our upcoming events, including we got a banger coming up on March 16th. If you haven't seen that, check out PHNX_Suns on Twitter. He's Shawn DePaz. I'm Johnny Venerable. Back tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody.